Buongiorno, sono Danielle with Learn Italian for Travel. Today's video is going to be on regular verbs that end in are or are. In Italian, there are three sets of regular verbs. There's verbs that end in are, verbs that end in ere, and verbs that end in ire. And so what that means is within each set, there's a specific formula for conjugating these verbs. And once you know that formula, you'll be able to conjugate these verbs really quickly. You just plug in this ending and you can conjugate a bunch of verbs because they all are conjugated the exact same way. So this is different from irregular verbs, which there's no rhyme or reason for the conjugation. You just have to memorize the form. So I would recommend you having some kind of book, some kind of resource that you can use to look up more verbs, because in today's video, I'm only going to introduce 4 verbs. And so obviously there's a lot more. And this are verb set is the biggest verb set in Italian. So I have a couple of books that I could recommend to you. The first one is 501 Italian Verbs. And I think this book is a great reference because it not only shows you the conjugation in the present tense, but also in all of the forms, all of the conjugations. And then of course, my book, The ABCs of Italian Travel, if you don't have this yet, I go through the book, I give you a lot of different verbs, but I also tell you in the book if they're regular or irregular. So it's designated by an R for regular and I for irregular, so then you can separate. So, cominciamo, let's get started. And I'm going to show you an easy way that you can do these verb conjugations, and then you'll get started being able to say a lot of things in Italian, because verbs are really important for communication. So you're going to take a verb in the infinitive form, which looks like this. This is the verb arrivare, and you can repeat after me at home. Arrivare kind of looks like what it is. It's to arrive. And so this is the verb in the infinitive form. And what that means is that it hasn't been conjugated yet. It's a general form. So it means to arrive. So the verbs when they're in the infinitive form mean to do whatever action it is you're talking about. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that verb in the infinitive form and you're going to get rid of that ending, that are ending, and see how I wrote a box and a slash, it's gone. And so then you're going to be left with this root, arrive, and that you're going to insert into each of the conjugations. So if you haven't seen my video yet on subject pronouns and regular verbs, I would recommend that you watch that first before you watch this, because I'm not going to go into depth talking about each of the subject pronouns. But you can see here that I've written them out and I've laid the foundation for the conjugation, because the subject pronouns are the foundation because they change who we're talking about. So, rivedete, io, I, tu, you, singular, informal, lui, he, lei, she, lei with a capital L, that's you, formal, singular, talking to somebody that you don't know. Over on this side, the plurals, noi, we, voi, you, all, and loro, they. So that's the foundation. And then you notice how in green I wrote the formulaic ending for each of those conjugations. So anytime you are in the io conjugation, the verb is going to end in o. Anytime you're in the tu conjugation, the ending is going to be I. The lui, lei, lei conjugation, the ending will be a. The noi conjugation, it will be iamo. Sometimes it's enunciated, sometimes it's blended. Sometimes it sounds like iamo, sometimes it sounds like iamo. Voi, ate, loro, the ending is anno. So this is what you need to memorize. O, I, a, iamo, ate, anno. O, I, a, iamo, ate, anno. Sing it. Sing it 10,000 times a day. Write it on a piece of paper and stick it to your wall. Get it tattooed on your arm. I don't know, just however you memorize best. You're going to add those endings then to the end of this root that we have, which is arrive. So to say I arrive, or I do arrive, or I am arriving, it's arrivo. Io arrivo. The io, the subject pronoun for all of these conjugations, are actually not necessary when you say the conjugation the subject pronoun is embedded in there. It's implied. So you can say io, but it would be used more for emphasis. So as we're going through these, I think I will say the subject pronouns to help you remember what they are and to associate them with the conjugation. So for each of the forms, like I said, you can be saying what the action is and is an in general thing or something that you're doing in that moment, like I arrive or I am arriving. So rivedete un'altra volta. Io arrivo, tu arrivi, lui, lei arriva, noi arriviamo, voi arrivate, loro arrivano. Benissimo. Facciamo un altro verbo. Let's look at another verb. Guardiamo. That is actually an ARE verb too. Guardare means to look at. So I just said guardiamo. So we will look at. So the present tense can also be used for the near future. So you can use it to communicate something that will happen in the near future, even a week or a month or a couple months away. So you can use it a lot. So mangiare is the verb that we're going to look at next. It's another important verb. It's the verb to eat. Eccolo. Qui. Okay? Mangiare. That's, again, it's in the infinitive form. So what part are you going to get rid of? What part? For every verb conjugation, it's the end. It's the are, gone. And so that's what you're left with is mangi. So mangi ends in an I. And the tu conjugation is an I, and the noi conjugation starts with an I. So for those two, you're not going to double up the I. You're just going to leave it as one I. So any ARE verb that ends in I-A-R-E, don't double up the I in those conjugations. So if you don't have a paper and pencil, I would recommend grabbing one and see if you can do the conjugation of this verb on your own, and then we'll go through it together. Va bene? So, siete pronti? Okay. Io mangio, tu mangi, lui, lei mangia, noi mangiamo. That is a blended sound. So we saw arriviamo, that was enunciated. Mangiamo is blended. Voi mangiate, loro mangiano. So the loro conjugation, when it's a 3-syllable word, the accent is going to be on the first syllable. So mangiano, mangiano, mangiano. That's where the accent is. Notice how when we did the verb arrivare for the loro form, it was 4 syllables, arrivano, and the accent for that one is on the second syllable, arrivano, because it's 4 syllables in that loro conjugation. Va bene. Okay, facciamo un altro verbo. We're going to do another verb now. Il prossimo verbo è anche molto importante quando si viaggia. Il verbo è cercare, e cercare vuol dire to look for. So the preposition for is actually included in the verb's meaning. So you're not going to add a preposition after you make the conjugation. It's in there already. So cercare. Notice how in the tu form here, I wrote an H with a star, and in the noi form, I wrote an H with a star. Because when you do this conjugation, we want to keep that C sound like a K the whole time. And if you remember from the pronunciation rules, when the C is followed by an I or an E, it sounds like ch. But we don't want that sound in this conjugation. So in order to preserve that hard sound, we add an H and then it stays like a K. So just remember to do that for the tu and the noi before you add the formulaic ending. So see if you can do this on your own. I'm not going to tell you what part of the verb to get rid of. Hopefully you remember and do the conjugation, and then we'll go through it together. Pronti? Okay. Io cerco, tu cerchi, lui, lei cerca, noi cerchiamo, voi cercate, loro cercano. Cercano. First syllable is a 3-syllable word. Did you get that? Benissimo. Okay, l'ultimo verbo, the last verb that we're going to look at, is similar to cercare in that you have to add an H, again, in the tu and the noi form. So anytime a regular ARE verb ends in a CARE or a GARE, you're going to add an H in the tu and the noi form. So remember that the G does the same thing that the C does, where it has two sounds. It can sound like a G and it can sound like a J, and it's based on what follows it. If it's followed by an E or an I, it sounds like J. But we want to keep that hard G sound for the conjugation. That's why we're adding the H. So facciamo o voi fate la coniugazione a casa e poi vi dico com'è, va bene? Pronti? Va bene. Io pago, tu paghi, lui lei paga, noi paghiamo, voi pagate, loro pagano. Come avete fatto? How did you do? Non so, but I assume that everyone did well. And if you didn't, it's okay because you're just learning it. So like anything, it just takes time. It takes repetition, and it takes time, and it takes practice. So right now I'm going to give you a little quiz, and I'll just say the subject pronoun, I'll say the verb in the infinitive, and then I want you to conjugate it. You can just do it orally with me. Okay. So io è il verbo mangiare. Mangio. Lei il verbo arrivare. Arriva. Noi il verbo cercare. Cerchiamo. Loro è il verbo pagare. Pagano. Un altro giro. Tu è il verbo mangiare. Mangi. Voi è il verbo arrivare. Arrivate. Io è il verbo cercare. Cerco. Lei è il verbo pagare. Paga. Bene. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a full sentence that I'd like you to conjugate. So if this is the one of your first videos or first times you've started to study Italian, you might not know some of the rest of the components of the sentence, but just as long as you're getting the verb conjugation, that's great. Okay. So la prima frase, come si dice? How do you say they are arriving at 6? Arrivano alle 6. Bene, ok? Numero 2. Come si dice? We are eating a pizza. Mangiamo una pizza. Mangiamo una pizza. Numero 3. Come si dice? I'm paying the bill. Pago il conto. Pago il conto. Come si dice? You all are looking for a restaurant. Cercate un ristorante. Cercate un ristorante. Benissimo. Ok, l'ultima cosa che voglio dire. This is the last thing that I want to say because I've talked about all of these conjugations in the positive, affirmative form, but if you want to make the sentence negative, I want to show you what you do. So in Italian, sì is yes, no is no, right? Sì, yes, no, no, just like in English. But if you make the sentence negative, you need to put non right in front of the verb. So if I want to say, I am not eating, I can say, this is actually a complete sentence, just with the verb and non right in front of the verb. Non mangio. So that non, though, it has to go right in front of the verb conjugation. Non mangio, I am not eating. So whoever the subject is, just remember you're putting that non right in front. If I want to say they are not arriving, I would say, see if you can figure it out. Non arrivano. Non arrivano. Benissimo. And l'ultima cosa, the last thing that I want to share with you, which is kind of neat. In Italian, there's no do or does, so you can take a statement and you can transform it into a question just by adding inflection. So if I say, mangi, that is a complete sentence. It just means you eat, or you do eat, or you are eating, okay? I can take this, though, and I can transform it into a question just by adding the question mark. So now if I say mangi, that translates to do you eat or are you eating? So either one, because it can mean either thing. So isn't that kind of cool? We don't need to add anything else. If I say, let's use the verb pagare. If I say, paga la cena, cosa vuol dire? Paga la cena. Paga la cena means he is paying for dinner, or she is paying for dinner, or you, formal, are paying for dinner. That's a statement. If I want to make it into a question, though, I just add inflection and a question mark. So I can say, paga la cena, and that would mean, are you, formal, paying for dinner? Or is he paying for dinner? Or does she pay for dinner? Could mean any of those things. Isn't that kind of cool? Ok, allora abbiamo finito per oggi. So we're done with the lesson for today. Keep studying this, the conjugations. And remember, o, I, a, get that in your head, iamo, ate, anno. E ci vediamo presto. Ciao!